Okay, I'm back. Jim Freidmaker. And before, when we were having problems, we were still getting issues, even though we set up a personal access token, PAT. This command continued to hang. So I did go in to the Windows GUI and clear it that way. And I only cleared what I showed today. I showed multiple GitHub's entries, but I only cleared the one that I updated today. Where before I started recording, I was doing some walkthroughs. So, because I still believe, frankly, I still believe that it is better to have the fine-grained token, and I also personally prefer to lock mine down to a particular to a particular thing. Now, the other service that I use, frankly, I like GitHub's security focus on this. This service I use, this would not be a factor because it doesn't incorporate anything like this. So there's GitHub is much more secure in that way, but it is not something that is built into Git. It's built on top of GitHub instead of natively in Git. So here I have some things in the Windows GUI that I don't want to expose, which is why I wanted to do it on the command line. But this process absolutely worked. So I just removed the entry for today, and then what it did, it reprompted. So I took a couple of screenshots and I'll explain. So I'm going to go back to here. Here's the latest screenshot, but I want to show you what happened. So when I cleared the credentials, it brought it up. It brought up a little login box here. And what I probably could have done, and I'll explain this in a moment, but I probably could have just clicked cancel on that, because what I'm about to show you, it rejects this. So recall that I told you that a PAT, a personal access token, should be treated like a password, but it is not the password you use to log into GitHub with. Okay, so your GitHub login doesn't change. That is only when you're pushing to a repository. So even though I entered my username and password accurately here, it rejected it, and I'll explain that. I'll show you that screenshot rather than talk through it. Okay, so right here it says login failed. Use Control C to cancel basic credential prompt. So I believe I probably could have just X'd out of that, probably got the same thing. But then I entered my username for GitHub like it asked for. But then the password here, instead of entering my actual password like I just explained at the prior screen, this was the actual password for GitHub itself. Then what I do is you won't see the cursor move, but I just copy and paste that PAT that you've not seen, because that would be exposing my credentials, okay? So, but that absolutely worked, and then I went ahead and pushed. So I'm going to go over to the live view now instead of the screenshots, just to show you what I've done. Made a few changes since then. So I'm going to catch up. Here is where that screenshot left off, right here. You know it worked. Then I did a get status just to show you, because I'm getting in the habit of doing that, that idea. And then, so the branch is main instead of master, like the old days. And then what I did is I made a slight change. So I'm going to go ahead and drag over the code to you just to show you that, because there's nothing sensitive in this file that I don't have to worry about showing you. So all I did, just to avoid wasting your time, if I had an issue, I went ahead and made a change, and all I did is add this line, okay, that I just first committed this to GitHub on 5/3 of 2025, and then I did my get add period. And of course, as a reminder, I could have typed in get add and that specific file name, but because I only had one file name, I could enter get add period. That idea. And then all I did is made a very specific commit message, added comment above the current get version number to show it's first committed, hit the enter key, and then I pushed. And so you don't get prompted, so just so that you don't get prompted every time you do that, because that would be a mess if you have to enter that personal access token anywhere. That's where it's cached, and I didn't know how long it was cached for, so I didn't think about that aspect until it failed the second time after we set up the cache, or the pat. Sorry. So anyway, so here's all that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to now show you what happens on the web version of it. So just to show you, because I did all this without you watching. So now, by the way, of course this is this. So I'm going to minimize just to see what's behind it. Okay, so here you can see that there's been 2 commits today, last done 12 minutes ago, and I'm going to click into that. Okay, so here's the commits back to back. Here's our original one, and when it says committed 3 hours ago, that was just because I made the local commit on my machine 3 hours ago. I didn't push it until that recently, but that kind of thinking. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. I'm going to get inside this. I'm going to go ahead and click on that top one. Okay, and I'll show you a thing that might be. This is how it normally does. It's called Unified View. But my preference is, because I'm used to it with the other service, I like to have a side-by-side view. So I'll show you what it looks like side-by-side. So I'm just going to click on the gear icon here, and I'm going to go to Split. Now, so everything you see here, I added a line. So there's the little plus in the green. So the only difference in the program is just me adding that comment. Okay. So let's say that let's say in 3 months, let's say the latest version is 2.5.0. Okay. So let me just simulate that. All I'm going to do is just go here. Let me go back to it. I'm just going to make a live view. Okay, so let's pretend, just to show you what it looks like. What happens if you only change part of the line is what I'm getting at. So let's say this is 2.55. I'm going to save it. I'm going to come over to here. And I'm going to do a get status because I want you to see that it's that it won't be green because it's been modified. Okay, I'm actually going to clear the screen just to kind of get all that old stuff out of the way. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that again. Get status. It's now been modified. Okay. So now what I'll do is I will add a get add. And just to prove, of course, that you can do it this way, just copy and paste that. I'll take out that extra space at the end of the bat, just in case. It's probably good enough. Okay, it even took it out for me. So, okay, now we're going to go ahead and just get at that file, which of course is the only file to commit. And then what we'll do is we'll do the commit. So, oops, get commit -m for the message, entered in quotes, to show what it looks like just entering when just editing part of a line. So we're not adding a line now. Made up a future Git version just to make some changes. Okay, and again I'll bring that over just to show you what we did. We just changed that to 2.55, so I'll change it back to 2.49 in a moment. Show you up and down. Now, so one file change, one insertion, one deletion. Basically, it does a deletion of the line that does it, and just inserts the revised line. That's kind of the essence. So I'm just going to do a get status again, just to show you it'll be what it looks like. So working tree clean. That's what we're looking for. And then once we're ready, like normally the flow would be, I would normally test that code. We saved it. We run it, and that's my flow, is I run it so I know it's ready to be committed. that idea. So I usually run it locally or run it on the web in the case of my preferred language of PHP. So I know it's bug free, that idea. And if I really need, if I've kind of lost track about where we're at, I'm going to show you something here and I'll explain. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and change it. Let me think here. Okay, I'll do that in a second. I'll explain why did we not get anything. I'll show an example of that in a moment. So the diff is just what is different between one file and another. You don't have to wait until you push it up to the GitHub to know what your changes are. So that idea, that's where we're coming from. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just do the git push. Again, it won't ask me for credentials; they haven't expired. So we'll wait for that to finish. We'll go over to the web version and see what happens, what it looks like when it's only editing part of a line. So we'll go back. So I'll click here to code. And I'll click this time, before I clicked up here, let me just click on this just to show you. There's the full code. Then I'll click back. And then I'll click here. So we've now made 3 total commits. Now in this case, okay, you see, remember when it removed the line? Let me show you that where it said. Let me get to the exact terminology here. It's probably on that prior thing. So let me check. Okay, see how it says 1 insertion, 1 deletion? Remember how I described that? So the 1 deletion, it deleted the line that said set version 2-49 and then only here, and it detected, let me get that highlighting out of there. See, it only took out, it knows that it only technically removed the 49 and it replaced it with 55. See how that little different shade of pink or red and a little different shade of green here? That's what it, so we didn't make it, what if we made a typo with the word latest, that idea, okay? So that is how it shows if you made that deal. So let me, let's see if I want to do something else here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to say, well, what happened if, let's pretend that this was, I'll do that in a minute, but give me a second here. Let me go ahead and edit that back, and I'll show you this. Then I'll show you a different way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to run that get diff because don't want to forget to show you that. So we have not done any adds or commits or whatever. So I'm going to do a get diff and show you what happens here. See, we didn't even add that file because the file is under quote-unquote source control, so it already knew that. Okay, so here we just edited to make it a future version that doesn't exist. So the red is we removed that line and then we inserted this line. Okay. So you can always check the get diff. I'm going to go ahead and push. So get push. I'm not even going to go to the web because I want to show you. I want to show you another point. Okay. And I forgot to do the commit. So get push and says that nothing to send basically. Okay. So I forgot to. I did the. Okay. Get diff. Okay. Now we got to do the get add. And I'm just going to use the shortcut. Get add period. And then the get commit. Change the get version number of the checker back to 2.49.0 to be descriptive in my commits messages. And then I'm going to go ahead and push. And then I will go to the web just to show you where we're at. I think we're up to 4 commits now. We'll see. See if I'm right. Okay, I'm going to just try to reload. See if that works. Okay, so and the reason that didn't work is because it's on a very specific commit message. So I'm just going to go up here now. Showed you a variety of ways to get there. And then I'm going to go up here to change the get number. Back. This is the latest commit, 4 commits in. And you'll see that it deleted the line 2-55. It highlighted only the 55 versus the 49 changed. And we're still side by side. So now let me show you what you may prefer the unified view. I'll just show you what that looks like. So I just am so used to having the other system I used all the time for over a decade, probably well over a decade. Maybe not quite 2 decades. I've been using source control, but you get set in your ways here. So we'll go ahead and click on split. Here's my personal preferred side-by-side view. You can do whatever you like. The default is the unified view. So switch it back to split. Okay, and then what I'll do in the next video, I actually have something coming up, so it might be a few minutes before I do the next video, but I'll show you the whole purpose. Let's say that there was a true bug in the code, and man, it was so buggy that you're not even sure where you ended up. It's like try to change too much. It's one time. What you'll find is it's best to make frequent commits. Frequent tests, frequent commits, that idea. But if eventually it's going to happen. You're going to make too many changes too many times, and you're going to really get into a mess, and you're going to say, you know what, it's just better to go back to a prior version and start over, that idea. So I'll show you what that looks like in the next video. So we'll go ahead and stop for now.